What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And we're back with House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3. It's still on Max. It still has audio description by DeWolfe, written by DeWolfe, and narrated by Roy Samuelson. So, I'm really loving the new credits, by the way. Like, I love that the series is trying to find its own path through credits. It still has that Game of Thrones-esque opening music to tie it in, but we're getting like images and stuff that are not the map that I remember from the original Game of Thrones series. So it sounds like it's completely different, and they're really trying to set out and do their own thing. So in episode 3, we're just everything is always just people dealing with ramifications, like, of the things that came before. The big takeaways here are we get to see where Damon flew, and Damon flew off to this castle that he is hoping that he can use this castle and its lord to house troops in the river area of Riverland, River Rock. A river runs through it, and it's the biggest castle in the area, and he's hoping that the guy there likes it. However, the guy seems pretty chill, but Damon's kind of afraid to eat the food. He's like, this is how dragon riders die. Or any other way. I mean, like, tons of ways. I don't think every single dragon rider has been killed by poisoned food. That must suck to have to always, like, Damon's so paranoid he has to cook all of his own meals, Like, I can't, no. I don't trust you. I have to make my own food. Where's the kitchen? But once he punches some dude in the face, he's basically welcome. Like, nobody else puts up any sort of battle for him the whole time he's there. And to wrap up Damon's storyline, instead of bouncing back and forth, basically, after Damon has a conversation, he's like, well, I'd really like to see this old guy. It's an old guy that's been referenced also by Aegon. It's Aegon that rules, right? Not Aemon. We need new names. Anyway, the Child King, the Teenager King, whatever, references, we hear this other old man referenced, and in one of the council meetings, and they're like, well, he's, I don't know, he's like really old and out of it. And then this guy is like, dude can't even control his bowels, man. I don't know what you're going to get out of him. But Damon's planning on talking to him. He stays overnight, and clearly he's got some thoughts, because his nightmares are pretty substantial. And definitely left me with some images where I was like, okay, well, that's creepy. Thank you, House of the Dragon. I'll leave that for you guys. You guys can enjoy that in the recap, but I'll say Damon has a nightmare, and I was definitely like, oh shit, we're going there. Okay, we're doing that now. That's disturbing, and I'm not hungry anymore. I don't want to eat ever again. So I'm on a new diet plan. It's called Damon's Nightmares. Listen to it, and you'll be like, I don't know. Fuck me. So that's where Damon is. I love how in this episode, where we're kind of shooting all over, we could have checked on, if you guys listened to my last recap on episode 2, I was like, episode 2 is really strong, and I'm like, but then we're checking on, what's his name, Alan? I was like, this is so weird and so out of place, because he has nothing to do with the storyline. Now this one, we're kind of cutting and jumping all around and seeing where everybody is. This would have been an excellent episode to include him in. But no, he's not referenced at all in this episode. We never go over and check on him. And it's the most baffling thing, because we're checking on like all of these other characters, and everybody else is introduced, and it feels like you could have carved out 5 minutes here to be like, oh, where's this guy? Who's this guy? What's he doing? And then it would have made sense instead of in an episode where it didn't make any sense. But instead, anyway, so, yeah, so back home, Rhaenyra, man, I gotta get these names down. I realize we've got Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra? Jesus. Like, oh my. So Rhaenyra really wants to figure out how to get through this peacefully, and everybody just basically keeps trying to get her. Man, people want war, you know? And to give her credit, she's like the one person who's really just trying to be like, I want the throne, but I want the throne without like everyone dying. Is that possible? Like, can we do that? Can we just, is it possible? Like, she really believes that there's like a calm conversation to be had. And so through the counseling of Rhaenyra and the fact that she got this raven before the little boy was killed in the first episode, from Alicent hinting to the fact that she wanted a truce and that she was sorry about Rhaenyra's son's death, that she decides to try to figure out how to do that. And the Damon's former ex that was being kept in the dungeon, I don't know her name. She's apparently going to become a lot more important, though. She was the one who sort of noticed Eric and helped and came back and helped to save Rhaenyra's life. And so Rhaenyra's like, what do you want? And she's like, I just want a place in your court. Because really that's kind of what she said she wanted, was to just, she's tired of being, you know, she doesn't want to be a whore. She doesn't want to have to go and rebuild. So she's going to hedge her bets on Rhaenyra and offer her whatever counsel she can offer, whatever tidbits of information she can offer. And at least if Rhaenyra wins, she'll be you know, elevated. She'll have an elevated status that she would never have otherwise. Kind of like what's happening with Christian. Like, Christian has come a long way, even though he's lowborn. It is not like from any family or anything like that. Now he's the hand of the king. So we see sort of a parallel structure here of people attaching themselves, and people who wouldn't normally be in those positions are moving up in the world, which is really kind of cool when you think about it, because in Game of Thrones, it's like Shay had to like hide all the time, and it put such a strain on the relationship. Ultimately, we know where that went. But yes, so Rhaenyra is able to go and talk to Alicent covertly. Alicent doesn't even know what's going to happen. But she knows where Alicent goes. Basically, it's church. Like, Alicent goes and prays by herself. It's the one place where she goes without her guards, is to have. So Rhaenyra goes in there and they have a conversation. And Rhaenyra is really adamant that, you know, she's like, I saw my father minutes before he died. And I don't, you know, it was still me. I don't believe you. And Alicent is like, I swear on my mother's life, he changed his mind. And I feel like I'm being gaslit because now I can't even remember, because these two actresses are both so certain in their certainties, where I'm like, fuck, I have to go back and watch that episode now. Like, I'm just like, it's like two people who are both like, this guy is red, this guy is orange, you know, and you're like, what is it? I don't know. Yeah, so I kind of remember that Alicent is right, but I think she's misinterpreting it. Basically, it wasn't so much that he was like, he should be king, he should be the leader. It was, if I remember correctly, it was more like he was just kind of having like a fever dream there. Yeah, and it was just like, words are coming out of my mouth. And, but she said something really interesting that that Rhaenyra picks up on, and she wants to have like a deeper conversation about it, but Alicent is like not having it at all, and that is a reference to the Song of Ice and Fire, and Rhaenyra is trying to point out the relevance of it and the significance of what she just said, but Alicent is already like done with the conversation, so she leaves. Anyway, so like Rhaenyra's mind is blown, and we'll see where that picks up with episode 4. So it's kind of where she went. King Jarhead is, debating about, he's getting sort of mixed messages about whether or not he should join the troops, not join the troops, stay at home. He wants to be seen as a strong leader. So he's like, sometimes he's trying on the armor. He's sending off Christian and Alicent's brother, who seems like a just giant waste of time. This dude came into the scene and I was like, oof, this guy feels like he's going to die this season. I just feel like I was immediately introduced to somebody who's not long for this world. He had this air of superiority about him, and I was like, this is not a good way to walk into battle, man. This is not a good way. Luckily, Christian knows what's up. Like Christian, because Christian started at the bottom, I think his skills are more honed than somebody who is like highborn and has been trained a completely different way. Christian's survival instincts are just much higher, which really feeds into him actually saving this dude's butt and all of their troops and getting them to run into the trees when the daughter that has dragons, I have to remember all these names for a recap, and I can't look at anything because I'm blind, so it's very weird. I can't remember her name, but she swoops in with her dragon and scares the shit out of everybody, but ultimately doesn't kill anybody. Or even try to, really. She just literally she's like, oh, some people on the other side. Let's see how many of them I can get to poop their pants. So she swoops in with the dragon, and they all think they're in mortal danger, and they run into, and Christian calls it and runs into the forest. So basically no one dies in that sequence. Cool. And there's a scene with Jace who tightens his grip on a sword. That's what Jace did this episode, in case you're wondering. Just keeping up with Jace. He was in a scene, and he tightened his grip on his sword. So that's what that is. We did bury the Erics. There's a reference to Viserys's dragon, and it being sad because it has no rider, it has no owner because the king died, and Rhaenyra has the dragon. So obviously we're going to fix that at some point. Somebody's going to become the rider for that. We do get to see the other brother that's not the king, and he's still seeing the same prostitute that he lost his virginity to, and is doing the thing where he like curls up in her lap and, I don't know, has therapy. The House of the Dragon version of therapy. I don't know what's going on in there, but his brother finds him and makes a ton of fun of him. I'm surprised that scene didn't go further than it did, but because his brother seemed humiliated and pissed, and his King Doofus was drunk, so anything could have happened. We did check in on Alicent, checking in on what the fuck is she? Is she the queen? What is she? Is a princess? What is this person who births the kid? She seems to have nothing to do other than hang out around the kids, which is now just the daughter. The mother of the dead kid, the one that just died, is talking about how she feels like she can't mourn because other people lose kids too. And Alicent is like, no, you have every right, along with everybody else. You have just as much right as anybody else to mourn the loss of your son. So anyway, pretty certain Otto didn't come up at all, and I don't think he was in this episode at all. The other guy that's the Whisper Master, he came in with some stuff that really kind of made me go, I don't know that we need this dude. Maybe he'll die this season. I feel like he's going to cause some problems because King Doofus, King Aegon, really just like took it seriously. He was like, what? What's happening in the rumor mill? Oh my God. Wow. Thanks for telling me that. And thanks for giving me that information. You know, my father told me people like you were bullshit, but I gotta tell you, you seem like a stand-up guy. So, I feel like that covers all of House of the Dragon this episode. Anyway, it covered a lot of different characters spread over everything, and it was a fun episode. And nobody of any significance really died. Yeah, people died. There was like this opening scene between these two warring clans or whatever, and then we just saw dead bodies, and so some stuff happened. I'm not gonna say nobody died, but nobody of any significance died in this episode, which is good. So we'll see episode 4 what's gonna happen, but I'm loving House of the Dragon this season. Are you? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to give House of the Dragon season 1 episode 3 an A. And you know what? I wouldn't be able to be here talking about House of the Dragon at all if it didn't have audio description. So once again, big shout out and thank you to the team providing all the excellent audio description, specifically Connor DeWolfe for writing such an excellent script. And yes, Roy Samuelson coming home with the excellent narration, but it really starts with an excellent script, which is what Connor DeWolfe is bringing every single week so far for House of the Dragon. So, shout out. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll be back next week with more House of the Dragon. I'll see you guys on the other side.